Stroke of Luck. I'm RenéMarie, and I'm really honored and privileged to have this opportunity to come to you live from Long Island. We used to do the show from Madhouse TV in Long Island, but Madhouse TV closed the doors a while ago, and of course they have the Mousetrap Cafe, which in Amityville, New York. So if you have a possibility to go visit Amityville, New York, Mousetrap Cafe, visit them. They have awesome music, and we miss you, Tommy and Janine. But we're here at a library in Smithtown, New York, and we're broadcasting live so that we can continue to bring the stroke and aphasia world to the world. We love to entertain and really to bring awareness to situations like stroke and aphasia, and it really is a wonderful platform, this Facebook Live. And in the near future, I learned how to do YouTube Live, and Twitter Live. So we're going to be going live around the world, continuous with different viewers from different social medias. And so we're very, very happy. I really want to give a shout out before I introduce my panel here and my dear friends. And in Long Island, we've gathered a ton of friends in Long Island since we've been doing this. I think it's been 3 years we've been here, so it's awesome. So Ron, you rock with your radio station. I was a guest on a radio station this morning. I'll have to post it on the let me see. I'll have to post it on live. I'll let you know in a little bit what radio station it was. But I really wanted to thank Ron, and I'm going to do a whole private thank you from my studio in Hawthorne, New Jersey, and talk about the experience being on your show and how we're going to continue to work together. And thank you so much for the gift of offering to me to come on once a month to talk about our stroke and our aphasia world and how to bring awareness to it and how to support us. And so I got to tell you, you rock. You rock, you rock, you rock. You do. So anyway, I'm going to open up my panel. Of course, we have Judy Marlowe Ratway. She's on the board of directors for the ReneMarie Language of Love. Yay, Judy! We couldn't do anything without Judy. Nothing without Judy. And then we have Josh Orlean. And your last name is Orlean. Okay, so Josh and Debbie Orlean. And it's a really funny story, but I'm going to let Josh tell you how we met.
Okay, so a friend of mine, Ann Agueli, is a writer, and she met ReneMarie through some of your associates. You shared a lot of interest and a lot of synergy. Right. Both of purpose and skills.
Right.
And Ann is a friend of mine, and Ann invited you to come to a landmark worldwide seminar on Long Island.
Wow.
And I was in this seminar, Debbie was with me, and we were having dinner with a group of friends, and you show up and you're sitting next to me.
Mm-hmm. It's a God thing, I think, anyway.
Yeah, and we started speaking, and I had a stroke. And as a matter of fact, July 23rd will be 2 years for me.
Wow.
So that shared experience just instantly created a good bond. Yeah.
I think that we were meant to meet together at that particular time in that particular moment. That just, we're all connected in life. We just have to open the door, and really we're here to support each other, to help each other. And this is one of the platforms that we do it in, bringing awareness to the world. Debbie, how did you feel when Josh suffered a stroke?
How did I feel? Shocked. And I knew that I had some work to do. I knew that I had to be there for him. But it was because I noticed his way of speaking in the middle of at 1 o'clock in the morning, when he said he was feeling strange, I just said, I think you're having a stroke.
Wow.
So
did you know anything about strokes before?
I've heard something about, I've always known about the slurred speech, and I know there are several other factors.
It's FAST. FAST is the label that people use to make it very easy to remember what the signs are. And number one is the face. If the face is off balance, if you can't smile, if it's drooping on one side, that's number one. A is arms. When you put your arms out, which I can't. Can you put your arms out? Yeah, I can't put my arms out because after a while I probably can, but it never gets straight. That means you could be suffering a stroke. S is smile and speech. And T is, of course, time, because time is really important. You have a 4.5-hour window from the onset of a stroke to get help, and it could be reverted back if you let the ambulance driver know that someone could be experiencing a stroke. They will get into stroke mode and they will pass by triage when they get into the hospital. And if the ambulance driver sees the signs as well, they will take you right in for a CAT scan when you get to the hospital. They will not waste time because they know within that 4.5-hour window, they can put a clot buster to bust your clot. So what kind of a stroke did you have?
It was not hemorrhagic, ischemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and matter of fact, I noticed walking about the house at 1 o'clock in the morning that my right foot was not working the way it should.
Wow.
Came back to bed, sat down, wondered if I should tell Debbie.
Definitely tell you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Then
yes.
I went for another walk, and it was definitely something wrong.
Wow.
Came back, and knowing that within minutes I might be on the way to a hospital.
You knew that instinctively, right? It's just something
That I knew.
that you knew that, because you just know. It's like a knowing that you need to go to the hospital. Could you say it? Could you?
Well, I thought I said to my wife, Debbie, something's happened, I'm scared.
Yeah,
Right.
you did.
And, but how that came out, I
Yes.
might have sounded like a dog barking.
Was he slurring his speech
Yes,
when he
that's what
said
he
that?
was-
to
yeah,
you?
that's when I
that's the
knew.
aphasia part of
Right.
our
That's-
world.
Right, but that's when I knew. That's when I said, think you're having a stroke.
Wow.
Let's go.
And knowing my wife, she would be on the phone instantly.
Well,
Yeah.
And
yeah, I
in
was.
minutes, we had
Yeah.
an ambulance picking me
Yeah.
up.
Which was good. What was the time zone that before they?
Well, it
Well,
was
they were there.
very
We
quick.
live half a mile from the hospital,
That's good.
so we were just there in a moment.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And they knew that I had suffered something like a stroke. By the time we got to the hospital, I think the symptoms had cleared up, but they had brought me into a little room in the emergency area. And it seemed like I could do anything I want. I was back to before the stroke, and then I took a walk down to the bathroom at the end of the hall, and the first step that I took coming out of the bathroom, I experienced the start of a decline.
Wow.
And I was embarrassed. I didn't want to talk. I went back to the bed. I sat up.
Wow.
Didn't want to let them know, but it was pretty obvious. And I had gone to sleep less than an hour before I woke up.
Right.
So we were within that window of time.
Thank God you woke up,
Yeah,
because it could have been a lot worse.
that's for sure.
Yeah. So when they were both on our telethon, which we're so honored to have you join our family and be a part of our family, because like I said, we're just all in this to really make a difference and to teach people there are ways not to get a stroke and to really, if you do experience a stroke, what you need to do once you get it. So let's go into your teachings, how you teach people to eat properly. What's the proper terminology for it?
It's called a plant-based whole food diet.
Plant-based, right, I publicized that, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the
Whole food, plant-based.
that's it, whole food, plant-based.
Right.
It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say odd, but I know it's not odd that you were preparing your life for
Well, because of your
experiencing
father's,
stroke.
because
Yeah.
your father's background and your grandfather's background.
Right. Both my father and grandfather died at the age of 52 from a heart attack. So I never expected a stroke, but turns out my grandmother's brother had a stroke. So he was always sitting silently, and when he would talk, you could see that he was
But
really
you were
struggling.
very young and you didn't know it was.
No, I was very young.
Wow. But you had said, I think it was you, Debbie, that said to me that because of your eating habits, you really made your stroke a little bit less devastating because your body was strong in am I correct?
Well, actually, he, by eating the way he's been eating, it put off having a stroke and heart attack for 9 years.
Wow.
And the doctors all said if he hadn't been eating that way, he would have died a long time ago.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
So that's the key. for
And
them.
even the technology 10 years ago could not do what they were able to do something, but it was more involved and.
Right. So let's get into, first of all, how you began and what you did. Did you study it in school?
No.
No?
But knowing that my father died when I was 18 years old, I just started gravitating toward magazines and newspaper articles and books about health and the relationships of food choices. And, growing up in the 60s and the early 70s, it's, granola was a special food, anything like that.
Right. But granola is not really a healthy food, is it?
It depends.
Okay.
Um,
Because I like the sweet granola.
I do too.
But I don't think it's very good.
I have a raging sweet tooth,
Wow.
so there are ways to satisfy that.
Okay.
But you don't want to overdo it.
So tell us about the raging sweet
Yeah, I
tooth.
like to-
I like
Okay.
that. I think we should start with the dessert
Okay.
first.
Okay, sure. Of course. Well,
That's a woman's thing. You're sitting in presence of women.
I could attest to that it's the same for men.
Yeah, okay.
So, well, the simplest thing that I prepare for breakfast is oatmeal
Okay.
with banana and raisins.
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
always heavy-handed with the raisins.
Why raisins are
Well,
good?
they're sweet, but they're healthy sweet.
How about the cran raisins? I like those.
Some of them are coated with extra sugar, which is not great.
Okay.
So.
If I
but-
buy them without extra sugar,
Yeah.
then it's
Yeah.
okay. Because I like the sweetness in them as
Sure.
well in my oatmeal.
And and those are dried fruits. So usually I've heard people talk about the sugar is more concentrated. So anything that's closer to the way food occurs in nature
Right.
is better.
Right.
And I'm not advocating raw food, which is a lot of work and a lot of time. I know a lot of friends who tried following that way of eating.
What do you mean by raw foods?
That-
Just because I think that the
Apples
audience
and-
needs to
Okay.
be aware, because maybe, I don't even know what exactly raw foods are, so I'm thinking like maybe
Yeah.
it's something you need to explain to them as well.
So there's above a certain temperature, you would not cook food. It's a very low temperature for
okay.
one thing. I mean, there's a mixture of things, and a lot of the foods, they'll have nut butters, nuts, coconut. Since I don't do it that often, but salads,
Right.
obviously
Just
full of
anything that's not cooked.
Yeah.
Mostly
yeah,
not cooked.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
not cooked.
Okay. Yeah, because you're taking away the nutrients is when you cook food.
There's also what they say there's natural occurring enzymes, like an apple, if you cut it up, it's very shortly it starts turning brown.
That's true.
So there's the enzymes in the food that are good for your health, and if you cook it, you cook out a lot of those enzymes.
right.
But the doctors that I have been both a patient and a student of, the diets that they promote, there's a broad range of things that are fully cooked. And there are certain vegetables, plant-based foods that actually are more, the nutrition is more available when it's cooked than
So
when
give
it's
us-
raw.
Talking
give
like
us-
broccoli.
Broccoli.
Yeah. Give us some examples for the audience. Give us some examples of what's better cooked, like broccoli is one, but what's another one?
Some carrots.
Although I've been eating this way for 10, 11 years, and I've had no problem sustaining this way of eating and having it be really, for me, incredibly pleasurable.
Right.
And even being able to know how to navigate going out to dinner or eat
Right,
dinner
right,
with
right,
friends
right,
and family.
right. Which you can. That's a whole thing, that you can go out to dinner. You absolutely can. You just have to be very, tell the waitress and what exactly it is you want. And
That's right.
they make things for people.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to speak with either the chef or the owner, because I found that some waiters don't like to admit that what they don't know.
Right.
And either they'll give you what they think is true, and then you find out later, if you go back to the restaurant, the owner will say, well, I have to stay away from oil, which makes it very difficult.
Why do you have to stay away from oil because that's not in the diet, or?
It's for people who are concerned about heart health, and strokes are very related to that. Oil is not a health food.
No.
And
See,
certainly,
and
I thought olive oil
I
was
always
good.
eat olive oil in my salad, and I shouldn't
Yeah.
be eating that. I mean,
it's a longer conversation, but
I should be limiting how much
Yeah.
oil I am taking
I
in.
never knew that olive oil.
yeah, and there's the healthy oils, and there's the unhealthy oils, and what the doctors that I go to say jokingly is, the healthy oils give you better numbers, cholesterol numbers, but you just die with better numbers.
Right.
So it's the same level of people, the same rate of people dying. So I can't answer questions about what vegetables are better uncooked. Most of the vegetables in salads, they're uncooked.
I got a question for you. And believe me, I understand that, because first of all, it's probably geared specifically to each person, because each person needs certain things and can't eat certain things and can eat certain things. But is there a website that they can go?
Yeah, there's, Forks Over Knives, which is also a documentary, and it's a great documentary available on Netflix.
Wow, I'm gonna watch it.
And it's also, you can go to just call your local library. I know out here in Long
We're in a
Island-
library.
I know.
We can get in and show it.
That's right. You can, it's a 90-minute documentary. Some of the top players, doctors that have really put their career and financial future at risk by taking a stand for that this is something that works.
Wow.
That there are long-term worldwide studies, large population studies, that have documented the effectiveness of the food choices on our health. So that populations in the world that eat mostly plant-based foods have a lower incidence of a broad range of chronic conditions.
Right.
Heart disease being one of them, which got me paying very close attention to that, because I had the choice of either going for invasive surgery 11 years ago.
For your heart?
Yeah, because they had determined that there were 5 blockages, 5
Oh
arteries
my God.
in my heart that were significantly blocked.
Mm. And how did you determine that? Was it something you weren't feeling well? Tell us, because our audience, most time, you just push off not feeling well, because at this age, we all have, I'm telling you, we all have something that is hurting us,
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, I just cleaned my house, I went through I went to a spiritual doctor the other day, and I'm working on spiritually cleansing my body, but when you do that, it kind of like sets you a gear to clean everything. So I clean and clean and clean my house and straighten and my back's hurting me, honestly. So what were why did you go to the doctors after all that?
Because, well, first of all, my family history, I wasn't experiencing any kind of pain. I had no symptoms, but a doctor started doing certain kinds of diagnostic tests to determine that my cholesterol levels were very high, my blood pressure was getting high, and they did a non-invasive angiogram called a CTA.
CTA?
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what that stands for. And about a week and a half later, after not hearing from the doctor, I thought I was fine. And that night, the doctor calls me saying that they want to do an angiogram,
Wow.
that they were very surprised, given how athletically active I am, that I had significant blockages. But not to worry, and we was going to schedule a time to meet. I got on the phone the next day. I found out about a doctor, Dr. Joel Fuhrman. And if you want, I could give you some names and books.
Yeah, that'd be a good
something
idea.
that you could link onto the website
Yeah,
for people to.
actually, I'll create a page for
Yeah,
you,
okay.
because we have all our partners pages, and I would love to partner with you. We'll put it on a website, all the places
Yeah.
for people to go to get all this
That's a great
information. So
idea.
stay tuned to our language of love, RenéMarie Language of Love.org website. We'll hook it up with Joe.
I'm just gonna intervene here. Dr. Joel Fuhrman is the doctor that you see on Channel 13. He's on
Oh.
PBS.
Wow.
So of these doctors who promote a whole food plant-based diet, he's the one who is most popular, that people will know his name,
Wow.
they know his book.
Okay.
But we went 5 o'clock in the morning to New Jersey to see him that morning.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So,
No, but that's what I have something to stick in. I love the fact that you didn't wait for your doctors to do something, because we know our bodies better than anybody, and we have to be responsible for our own health. And to sit and wait for a doctor to take care of your life doesn't cut it. You got on the phone the next day and you did your work and you took care of yourself, which is what you have to do. You have to take care of yourself.
So before he continues, I'm going to say how difficult that was from my side,
Oh, well, tell us.
or friends and family side.
What
to
do you
hear
mean by
that he had-
difficult?
To hear that Josh had we had just gotten married, actually. To hear that he had significant blockages in something called the widowmaker.
Oh my God.
All right, and
The widowmaker, as far as the
the part of the heart that's called the widowmaker.
it's an important LAD.
It's an important artery.
Yeah, that when a lot of people die, like Russ, what's his name, the reporter?
Yeah, right.
Russet?
Russet, yes.
I can't remember. NBC.
People die quickly from that artery, very quickly, 1, 2, 3. And so Josh, we knew that he had this, and
Tim Russet.
and he said, no, I know about Joel Fuhrman. We're going to New Jersey, the middle of Jersey. We left at 5 in the morning to drive hours to
Where
go.
was it in New Jersey? Do you know?
Somewhere in the middle, somewhere, I don't remember.
I'm sure it will come to me.
And
Just because I'm from New Jersey, so I'm a Jerseyite.
And having then decided at that point that he would do the whole food plant-based way, or vegan way, however you want to say it, friends and family were upset, really upset. Like
They were
and it was
upset
really
because you were changing your diet
No,
rather than
rather than going under the knife.
The knife.
So therefore, that's the reason for the name of the movie, Forks Over Knives.
Oh.
Eating with your fork rather than having a knife cut into you. So
And
it's
I
forks over
I
knives.
actually believe,
Yeah.
I believe in all that. And I believe that spiritually and, what was I going to say? Stress can kill us. Stress can kill
Absolutely.
us.
Absolutely.
Stress can kill
Yep.
us. And, when you're sick, you have to take care of your whole balance, your whole life. And eating is one of the
Yeah,
ways as
right,
well, as
yeah.
long as with stress.
Yeah.
So,
I was lucky enough. There was a monthly dinner lecture series on plant-based foods, and they had important doctors come to speak on a regular basis.
Talking about here on the island?
Yeah, it's not
Where?
anymore, but it was in the Melville area. It was called Healthy Planet, and so I heard of doctors like T. Colin Campbell, who wrote a book called The China Study, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, who back in 1986 launched a research study from the Cleveland Clinic, and he saw if he could duplicate the way people eat in areas of the world where disease does not occur the way it occurs in affluent cultures like our own, maybe he might even be able to reverse heart disease.
wow.
And he had other
That's
doctors.
powerful stuff.
Yeah,
That's powerful stuff.
yeah. And he got backing from the hospital to do a research study. And other doctors referred patients to him who had cardiovascular disease, strokes. Some of them weren't expected to live out the year. That's 1986. There were 18 of them.
Wow.
I think maybe 1 or 2 have died.
Wow.
And that's
a
86, that's
miracle.
14, it's 31 years.
So you went to see this doctor, and you decided that you were going to begin this program.
Yeah.
You're going to begin this program. What did they change about the way you ate? Were you not a good eater prior to your stroke? Do you eat fats and all that kind of stuff prior to your stroke?
I ate everything that everybody eats here. I loved it all. Pizza, steaks, hamburgers, French fries, you name it. It found its way into my mouth.
You're not supposed to eat meat more than once a week, and it's supposed to be a small amount, right?
Yeah. Well, when you have heart disease or other conditions that are sensitive to that, I rarely have any animal products.
No, you don't have any animal products.
A thin slice of cake, like a birthday cake.
Yeah.
We're Jewish, so I gefilte fish, which I hated as a kid.
No, once a
I-
year.
yeah.
You know, once a year. No, he's I would say 100% vegan, no oil.
But I like the fact
Healthy
that...
vegan.
Yeah, but I mean, in our lives, we can have the option to, you can make a choice, to if it's somebody's birthday and you feel like having a piece of cake
Yeah.
once a year or
Yeah.
whatever. So you're not closed to it. Most people who are, I'm a vegan, but the problem with that is then they're vegan for 6 months and then they go off. And you know what I'm saying? So the fact that you give yourself the 99.9, you're 99.9% in gear, and then you have that option if you want to have that
Right.
option. We all have that balance in our life,
Yeah.
However, I will say that since the stroke, and we are connected to Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, who has written the book Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease and Forks Over Knives, and we've gone to their home and spent 5 hours while they looked at Josh's records and told him how to eat. When he had his stroke in the hospital, I spoke to Dr. Esselstyn on the phone.
Wow.
I mean, we really feel very privileged to
Right.
be part of his community.
Right.
And he said, Debbie, you need to tell Josh. Oh, that was after the heart attack. I'm sorry. First he had his stroke, and then 2 months later was the heart attack.
So let me understand this. What was it when you first got diagnosed as having the blockages?
That was back in 2005, 2006.
Okay, so you got diagnosed as having these blockages. You drive out to New Jersey to see this wonderful doctor.
One doctor.
You decide to go with the fork rather than the knife.
Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah.
And that's
that's
a
it.
good philosophy,
That's it.
you know.
Yeah.
And okay, so then you began that process and that
Right.
way of life, because it is a change in
Yeah.
life.
And it's a process. I mean, when you're very motivated, like scared,
Yes. Well,
you make dramatic changes, but then you start sliding back. You backslide a little. You give yourself more and more permission because you're feeling fine. You think I did what I need to do,
right.
and then you start learning that the blood pressure is starting to climb again, and the cholesterol levels they dropped. It's a long process that I don't have the time to go into any more detail in, but we did ultimately find Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn when he wrote that book. And Fuhrman did make a big difference also, and again, the thing that we'll have linked to your site will have a lot of books and other information.
Okay, great. Now, then you suffered a stroke before
Right.
you suffered a heart
Right.
attack, right?
You had the stroke
Mm.
first, and
Right.
then,
And then a
Yeah.
heart attack.
And I was under a lot of pressure. I had retired from being a graphic designer, and I was trying to. I loved what had happened to me working with Dr. Esselstyn. We met with Dr. Esselstyn, was it 2009, I think? And made further changes, because his success was so startling with people that they predicted that they would not live out the year, and most of the people that followed that program are still alive.
Wow.
So I knew that I'd found the person that I should really listen to, and I was so blown away by I lost 30 pounds
Wow.
following the diet. I was, within a matter of months, I was swimming in my clothing.
Wow.
So Debbie used to say, Josh had a bowling ball belly.
Basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah, basketball.
So, Josh, we were supposed to have a phone, a Skyping session between you and me, because my doctor, my vitals have been wonderful. My cholesterol, my blood pressure, and they just went up slightly, my cholesterol. So what do you suggest that I do to combat that?
Watch Forks Over Knives.
Okay,
So
I will.
everything
That's the
about
basis.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
it's not just heart disease, it's many chronic degenerative conditions.
Right.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
Obesity,
People
Yeah.
have had reversals of diabetes.
Yeah.
cancer. I
Yeah.
mean, it's amazing that it's not very well known.
Because once again, the American Stroke Association, if anybody has any medical questions, I recommend you visit the American Stroke Association, because they're doing phenomenal work. Do they promote, or do they talk about this diet at all?
It's showing up on their website more and more.
Oh,
And
good.
I've also written a couple of essays for their blog.
Oh, good. So that's perfect. So
We
they
can
are.
see that on your website?
Well, you can send me the links to the blogs that you've created.
Well, it's, they have a blog where people can write in
Oh, okay.
and,
Okay.
and even respond.
Okay.
I've made a couple of contributions to that.
Well, that's important. That's important stuff when you
Yeah.
believe in something.
Yeah.
It really is important. I mean, our other partner, Dr. Mike Evangel, and Fred Dumbrow, they have found, you saw at the telethon, the Tourmaline, the watermelon tourmaline.
No.
It's a mineral that they have found that heals people. So they are working to get that out in the universe. So, because the same thing that some people go to medicines too quick, and something like this tourmaline, this mineral, heals people.
Yeah.
So.
And we have a cardiologist up in the Bronx who was trained by Dr. Esselstyn. He founded the Cardiac Wellness Center up in
Right.
Montefiore Hospital.
Right.
And he's a classically trained cardiologist. We have a cardiologist in the town of Huntington where we live, and I'm clear that I wouldn't be here today if he and his associates weren't available to save me,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially when I had
Yeah.
the heart attack. Because
Yeah.
the Widowmaker shut down, and we were lucky enough
What's
to.
the widowmaker?
That's the artery that.
Oh, the widow. I was thinking of a
No,
place.
no.
Okay.
So,
I never heard of that. I never heard of
I
that.
think
It's
I've
a good
heard of
thing.
it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
wasn't thinking
Yeah.
about it lately.
Yeah.
so it's,
You do
you need both.
You do need
And
both.
he's on medicine.
Yeah.
Let's say that too.
Yeah.
And I would- that-
One of your hopes was always, if I eat this way, I can go off the medicines, and then I don't ever have to take these
Yeah.
medicines.
Yeah, I want, that's a good point to
But that's
bring.
not going to
That's-
happen.
That's a good
No.
point to bring to
No.
everybody is, as much as you need to be responsible for yourself, you do need to visit a doctor.
Yeah.
The doctor you get is what matters, because some doctors aren't open to certain different working together. I'll give you an example. I herniated 2 discs in my back, and I was in excruciating pain. It was because I was hit by a car and my knee. So to make a long story short, I went to my doctor, and I went to the hospital twice, and then I went to my doctor. He sent me to this doctor who took care of your spinal cord. And what a remarkable doctor, because I asked him, like, because everybody's like, well, you know, you'll have to go to physical therapy. And people are like, well, you could try chiropractors too. And then I said, what about yoga? So when I met with this doctor, I was very impressed by his answers to me. So no, you can go to a chiropractor rather than a physical therapist. It depends on which chiropractor you're going to go to, because some chiropractors are not well in tune with. So it depends on what doctor you get. It's almost like you got to do your research. And it's really the connection that you make with them, right? Don't you feel that way?
Yeah, it's the cardiologist we have in Huntington. His name is Dr. Molyneux, and he's the head of cardiology there. And he's a sweetheart.
Huntington Hospital?
He's a sweetheart. And we may not see eye to eye nutritionally, but I am very clear that I'm glad he's in my backyard.
Yeah.
I see him regularly.
Yeah.
And then twice a year, I go up to Montefiore.
I was just up there. I just performed up there.
Yeah.
The one in Tarrytown. Not the one, there's another one.
This is
There's
by the
one in the
Bronx,
Bronx
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And any questions that I have about we're both medicine and nutrition merged.
Right.
I'll
right.
also ask for his opinion. He's been great at getting back to me. There's also a naturopath and nutritionist named Dr. Pam Popper, who's out in Columbus, Ohio. And she's been a wonderful resource for me. This will also be included in the
Okay.
list of
Awesome.
of possible resources. And in terms of recipes, you could type in London broil vegan, and I'll guarantee you that you will find a recipe for how to make a vegan London broil.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, actually, I pretty confidently say that, because it's,
I would like to see
I never heard of that.
Yeah. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So, gosh, we only have like 10 more minutes, 10, 15 more minutes. But, so what was the bottom line? I mean, what would you like to say to the audience? I mean, you have this platform here, and it really is important. I mean, this isn't I think this is incredible.
It's great.
That through media, social media, that we could be touching the world, and not only specifically for this hour, but when this hour gets up and the Facebook will continue to play and people will continue to log on and view it. And then we're also
Website.
broadcasting this on our recorder for us to post it on YouTube to our website. So we're in gear with this social media stuff, and it really blows me away. It really blows me away. You have to use it in a positive manner, though. You know, like I think it's a privilege to have the opportunity to come into your homes or your cars or, you know, wherever you are listening to us.
so the takeaway.
Takeaway.
There's a great book called Different Strokes. And the author starts off with his story, and then he has shorter stories about different people who've survived a stroke. And what he said in the book was that every person that he's interviewed said that they would not trade in the value they got from the experience of having the stroke, how it altered how they are in life, traded in for giving up having had the stroke.
Yes. Because it makes you so wise. It makes you, it really shows you the value of life and really like sets you in gear, you know, like sets you in your place. Like, you know, we all think we're invincible in life. Oh, we just do this and we do that and we go here and we go there.
But in a moment,
in
everything can change.
one
Yeah.
split second.
Yeah.
In one split second.
moment.
And it can happen to anybody in any specific time. And it doesn't matter how you were under doctor's care. You were, you know, doing your nutrition, you know, and you still experienced a stroke. So it's just what you do when the time comes to be aware of handling it and getting the proper care.
And as a family member,
Yes.
as a wife or a daughter or a son,
Yes.
it really affects your
Yes.
life too, because you want to do everything you can for the person who had a stroke, and it makes you more aware of what you have to do yourself.
Yeah, when I was working on a PowerPoint presentation, because I'm going from place to place doing Knowledge is Power seminars about strokes and aphasia. And I added to the fast, it says call 911. Well, if you call 911, you can just call them and say, we need an ambulance. But you need to add to that.
That you're having a stroke.
Someone could be suffering a stroke because they will get into stroke mode. Like at least it's an advancement to them
That's great.
to make them aware that time is of the essence. It's almost like a heart attack.
Right.
People know they could be suffering a heart attack. Like, okay, you gotta move. It's important. So I added that because I think every lecture I've been to, every person I've heard tell that story about fast, nobody adds in the fact like, what should you say when you
call
the
ambulance.
ambulance?
You can call
Right.
911.
Right.
You
Right.
must say
Yes.
the person is having a stroke, or
Well,
you're having a stroke.
Or they could be experiencing a
Or they
stroke
could
because
be-
you don't diagnose them because
Well,
we
if you
don't
see the
know.
signs
Yeah,
of
yeah.
a stroke, then you
Seems
should
like.
say.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, once you say stroke, then
Yes.
they're liable to be sure to act on it.
Right.
And they will. The ambulance doctors, and did you see the other day, at the baseball game when he was shot? But just ambulance drivers, nurses, doctors, just police officers, they're so incredible in what they do. They really are incredible in what they do. We want to, where everybody is in our prayers. And I actually want to say a special intention prayer for a friend of mine who her husband was diagnosed with something going on. So special intention prayer. I won't say who you are because I don't want to disrespect your privacy, but so we're definitely praying for you. Definitely praying for you. So we're talking about this book that this gentleman wrote, and you recommend everybody reads it.
What's the
It's
title
called
again?
Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease.
The one on strokes.
The one about
Oh,
stroke.
Different strokes.
Okay.
Different strokes.
Okay, different strokes for different folks.
I'm going to take that out from the library.
And one thing I wanted to share about, you talk about the signs, and you think that maybe the person's having a stroke because of those signs. In light of that, when Josh, 2 months after, into his stroke, was feeling uncomfortable in his back, and he was having pains in his back for about a week, and we never, ever thought he was having a heart attack. Never. And when all of a sudden he began sweating, I said,
That's a
maybe we
difference.
should go to the hospital. What's going on here? Something's going on. And they immediately did an EKG, and he was lying in the hospital, and they said, you're having a stroke. And we
A
were
heart
both,
attack.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
heart
a heart
attack.
attack. And we both went into shock. We said, what? What do you mean he's having a heart attack? Never once did he have the classic signs that you see on TV and the movies and you hear about, where people are clutching their arms. It's all just in his back. And they talk about
discomfort across the
across his
back
back.
top of the.
Right, and they talk about, I know that I'm aware that women have
Different
signs of
Different
different
signs,
for heart
different
attacks.
signs.
But here's a man who was having no typical heart attack signs.
Wow,
And he was having a heart attack right there.
wow.
And, oops.
It'll come back. It'll stop.
Nice tune.
It's nobody. It's like a
Special business
Yeah.
deal?
Oh.
So, we're still recording?
No. We just gotta wait a few seconds.
Okay.
I don't know if they can hear us, but if you can hear us, we're gonna wait a few seconds because
Oh,
we
here
have the
we go.
phone.
Okay.
Okay,
We're back.
we're back. Sorry, we had an interruption with the streaming. So anyway, back to
So the reason why I brought it up is because I would imagine for strokes also, they're, if you're really not attuned to those signs.
yes. Well, there are other signs of having a stroke. A massive headache.
Yes, my dad had a massive
Headache.
and he did nothing about it. He didn't tell it to me. He didn't tell it to the doctor, but he did share it with the neighbors prior to the stroke. We're talking a few hours before I talked to him that day.
Right.
And also he shared it with other people.
Mm.
Never shared it with me. It went on for, I guess, a few weeks, but he never told me. But I hear from the neighbors that he told all of them he didn't feel well and he had I spoke to him just just prior to the stroke to tell him some good news, which might not have been good news for him, but I had just gotten a cell phone for the first time, and I told him I'd be able to keep in touch with him. I don't know how he took that, but right after that is when he had the stroke. And I don't know what the time period was, because it was the last time I talked to him was 5 o'clock, and I reached him. I tried to reach him at 9, and by then he had already had the
Wow.
stroke.
Wow. Wow. Well, it's important what we're doing, you know, because people need to know about, become aware. Become aware.
I think swollen ankles is also a sign, because I did know about that, and I did take him to the heart
Wow.
specialist, and the
Wow.
heart specialist said, this is 2 weeks before the stroke. He is in the best of health for his age.
Wow. Wow.
And that was nothing, but it was something.
Wow.
Swollen legs.
And
yeah.
just before his second stroke, he again had very swollen ankles. And by then he was in the nursing home, and I was going, he's got swollen ankles, we got to do
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But we really want to thank you for joining us today and to share your stories, and we hope to have you back on so that we can
Definitely.
continue, especially after I watch that show,
Yeah.
you know, because I think it's a good conversation piece. We'll do a whole show on that, and we recommend, and I'll send a memo out to everybody to watch it so that they could tune in and listen and send their comments in to us, and we'll open the floor for conversation about that. So that's a
Okay.
great opportunity. I'll have my computer here so that I could, you know, see what's coming in and stuff. So it's very good. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much
Really
for having
appreciate
us.
it.
A few things before we go. They're wearing our pins. I don't know if everybody could see our pins. I don't know what's going on with our phone up there, but I'm sure you can see us. We
Yes.
just can't see ourselves. They're wearing our pins. They're awesome.
They are awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Nice.
They're and Virginia Warner, who was actually the thought behind the pins, will be on a show pretty soon. She's talking about when she was out in Las Vegas and how she handed it to every pageant,
contestant.
every contestant from the pageant, and everybody wore it out in Las Vegas with our brochures. So we're in Las Vegas. We were heading to Las Vegas, right?
We've been there.
Yes, it's awesome. And the other thing is, next weekend I'll be heading off to Washington D.C. to
Lobby.
to represent the American Stroke Association, which is a total honor and privilege. To learn how to lobby on Monday, and then we're going into lobby on Tuesday for stroke patients. So that has always been like a forefront of what I wanted to do, because I knew you can impact.
And
You
that
can
has
really-
to do with insurance, and the
well,
fact that insurance.
well, that's my world, but I don't think that the three bills that are on the table have anything to do with
okay.
insurance.
I thought perhaps they did.
No. But what I want to do is I want to start opening the conversation with political people, especially the ones that represent me. So, you know, I can go and represent the American Stroke Association, talk about their 3 bills. They're going to talk to us on Monday. They're going to train us on what we need to talk about, and you know, all that. And I'm in it like full force, because you know, you need to be around people that know how to do it, you know.
Yes.
And then I want to contact my locals and your
And
locals
mine.
on Long
Yes.
Island, because we had that one gentleman, Michael.
Michael Fitzpatrick,
It was
Assemblyman Michael
Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick,
a
who
great
spoke
guy.
to us
Yeah,
on our
yeah.
TV show at the studio about
because
it.
one of our passion is to help those that have suffered from strokes and their insurance has ended, you know, because in my world, there's no explanation for that. People should recover in the proper way, and they need to recover with health and rehab and love and all that
yes.
kind of stuff. So to me, it's like you can't sit here and tell me that you can't do. I mean, I just don't understand it. So I really want to start an ongoing relationship with my congressman and my governor and my assemblymen and all that kind of stuff, because I actually know a lot of them already. They just don't know I'm into this now, but wait until they find out. They know me like I would never do anything. I just really want to start a relationship with them and ask them to partner with them and ask them how we could address this. Like, let's come up to a compromise. Let's figure it out, you know,
Yeah.
together. So that's on our table. What else are we doing, Judy? We're actually trying to get into the school systems to
We're gonna be giving talks to the various school systems and
Rotaries and
Rotary,
yes.
Kiwanis, various organizations.
Yes, we're still working with Nancy from our board on the clothing line. We want to come up with a clothing line. I'm not going to go into too much more because it's a great idea. But that was one of our goals and objectives. I think that's it. Oh, our telethon. We actually, Judy and I would like to contact colleges to do our next telethon, either in Long Island or New Jersey.
Right.
Our thought behind it is that the students can get credit to working on a live telethon with us, and it'll be awesome. The whole college could really come on board with us. We could sell tickets to go to it in their theater. So, I was actually in Wayne, New Jersey, and the other one is Keene College. My mother used to work at Keene College, and I was there for Steve Adubato, which I love Steve Adubato. I like how he represents himself, and I've been trying to get on your show, Steve.
Steve,
you gotta have me on your
give
show,
Renee
Steve.
a call.
I'm gonna be on your show one day. Maybe you want to be on ours. We'll invite you on ours. That's what we should do. We should
Yes,
call
we'll
them and
do
invite
that.
them on ours.
We will do that.
Yes, see,
Even if we have to do it from the New Jersey studio.
yes, we'll do it from the New Jersey studio. But that's it. So we're really pushing along. And today when I was on the radio program, which I promise I will do a press release and do a public thank you with the name of the radio station and really, honored and privileged to be invited to do it once a month, which is a God. Thank you so much, Ron. But I was talking about the Amazon Smiles.
Yeah.
Amazon Smiles. If you don't, a way to help our foundation is to go to Amazon Smiles. It's the same as Amazon, only Amazon Smiles helps causes. And since we're a 501c3, if you go to Amazon Smiles, just put in our organization, ReneMaries Language of Love Foundation, as the support of it. Doesn't cost you anything, does not raise your costs, nothing changes on your end. The only thing is that you'll be helping our cause. And so if you want to, please, just if you're going to be buying from Amazon and you're not supporting a cause already, you're really not losing anything by helping us out. So thank you so much. Let's blow our kisses.
Thank you.
We'll see everybody. Thank you so much. And ciao.
Have a good afternoon.
Thanks.